It's a plaque, Your Excellency, that has an Idinkra symbol. Idinkra symbols are traditional Ghanaian symbols, and this one is called Shi Wonshi, which translates to when you burn, it does not burn. That which fire cannot burn. May our relationship and the business relationships between us be imperishable and last like gold. Thank you.
Where Zambia has invested over $140 million in our textile industry. Ladies and gentlemen, if you agree with me, I'm sure you have seen in the last few days when His Excellency landed, our social media has been taken awash with an amazing attire which His Excellency landed with, the FUGU. Mr. President, I should mention that your counterpart is opening $140 million worth of textile industry. Please use that one as a base for developing the FUGU for the other parts of Africa. Please place your orders. And it is from this forum where our President has always given directives that after these forums we should have business-to-business interactions in our deal rooms. Your Excellencies,
please subscribe to Morris TVGH.
Thank you very much. His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, Your Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, Honorable Cabinet Ministers, senior government officials, members of the diplomatic corps, captains of industry, leaders of fintechs, friends from the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. From the outset, let me advertise my president's favorite attire, the FUGU. We are all excited about the buzz that the president's deliberate choice of apparel has created. It has triggered a renaissance in what the Osagefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah described as the African personality, that we should reclaim the African identity, the African dignity, and the African culture. So when we talk about restitution and we talk about reparations, it is not just compensation for the transatlantic slave trade. Mental effort to go back to our roots, to go back to identity, because they did not only seek to enslave us, they sought to rob us of our unique identity, of our unique dignity, and of our unique traditions. And that is why we celebrate our African presidents who are continuing that charge, the charge of Osagefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the charge of the founder of Zambia, President Kenneth Kaunda. And for the young ones on social media who want to know more about the FUGU, this is the attire the founder of Ghana, Osagefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, wore when he declared independence on the 6th of March 1957 in Ghana. And there he made a profound statement that the independence of Ghana is meaningless. And note that we were the first African country to attain independence. He said it is meaningless unless it is linked with the total liberation of the African continent. And that is why Ghana became the haven, the headquarters for the independence struggle. And as you will know, the founder of Zambia, Kenneth Kaunda, was in Accra, worked closely with Osagefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. And it was therefore not surprising that in 1964, when Zambia eventually won its independence struggle, Ghana was the first African country to recognize formally the independence of Zambia and establish diplomatic relations with Zambia. So as we meet today as business communities, fintech leaders, as part of our business model, we need to support our presidents in this renaissance. It will be beautiful to see fintech companies invest in logistics that will lead to the easy movement, the easy transportation of our unique, beautiful fabrics and traditional wares or cultural wares from one country to the other. And as the FUGU becomes the most talked about attire in Zambia today, it will be nice to see the fintechs link up with our FUGU makers, most of them young women, very vibrant and enterprising, to see how you transport the now famous FUGU from Ghana to Zambia and to the entire African region. Ghana is proud to host the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, and this is another vision of our founding fathers, Kwame Nkrumah, Kenneth Kaunda, who said we must unite and we must trade amongst ourselves. It is glad to our hearts, it's very gladdening to our hearts to see that after 6 decades, the Africa Continental Free Trade Area vehicle has been born. We are talking about a market of about 1.3 billion people, a combined GDP of over 1.4 trillion United States dollars. We can tap into this potential and come together as businesses, break out from our silos, either as national or regional silos, and really work together to deepen intra-African trade, which it has to be said, we are not doing well at all. According to UNCTAD, we are below 20% in intra-African trade, the lowest if you compare all the continents of the world. May this Ghana-Zambia Business Forum change that narrative. And as our two presidents have been saying all week, they are not interested in the talk, in the ceremonies. They want results. And there are two leaders who are dynamic, action-oriented, and they want us to see that these engagements lead to real impact which will be measured by industrialization, real impact which will be measured by job creation, real impact which will be measured by the prosperity of our people, so that no African child goes to bed hungry, no African child dies at the Mediterranean attempting to cross in the search of so-called greener pastures. The Almighty has blessed this continent and blessed our two countries. We are two resource-rich countries. It is time for value addition, and it is time to ensure that these natural resources serve the African people and project the dignity and the pride of our people. And we in this room have it within our abilities, within our capacity to let that dream come to reality. So I hope that we will not disappoint our two leaders and that we will build trust, we will be loyal to each other, we will keep our business promises to each other, and make sure that we trust, with genuine Pan-Africanism, believe that we in our lifetime can create the wealth that our people deserve. I have no doubt that out of Lusaka will be that new Africa that all of us want to see and want to remain committed to. So we thank you very much, President Hichilema, for your invitation and for your warm hospitality since we have been here. On behalf of President John Dramani Mahama, we convey our deepest appreciation to you. We shall never forget your brotherhood, your warmth, and your solidarity. May Ghana-Zambia relations grow stronger and better. I thank you very much.
And we're told that Zambians love Ghanaian share butter. We're establishing a two-way route, which also allows for us to pick up products from King Express and send 1,000 parcels every week to do last-mile delivery from Zambia into Ghana. So Zambian businesses looking to have a footprint, the seed company, Zamseed, a lot of those seeds are now going to, last-mile delivery is going to be done by Shaka Express, which is a carbon zero e-logistics company from Ghana. In digital addressing, we came with a company called Snoocode. The challenge that exists is the lack of addresses on the African continent cost every African $9.32. And so without having a physical digital address, banks, businesses struggle with KYCs. When you struggle with KYC, it means that you're limiting the amount of credit you can offer to a rural farmer. Snoocode has come in with a solution. They're in conversations with the National Security Office and a number of state institutions. There again, we see prospects for partnership. When it comes to the financial ecosystem, we met with the Deputy Governor of the Bank of Zambia, thanks to the facilitation by the Honorable Minister for Technology and Science. Two of our companies who are here, in fact, one of them is already here, Nsano. Nsano has been in Zambia since 2018 and has already from Zambia moved into a number of SADC countries. Your Excellency, we're looking to ensure that with Nsano and Apps and Mobile, we work with the Bank of Zambia to roll out merchant payments. The Bank of Zambia has been able to do P2P payments where Zambians are able to transfer money between themselves. However, when it comes to merchants, where you go to a merchant or a shop and buy, you have to cash out and pay. Now, to be able to have QR codes that allow merchants to take their payments digitally, these two companies are talking with the Bank of Zambia to roll it out. And Nsano has a track record of being from Ghana in 13 African countries with over 550 million mobile wallets connected and 140 million bank accounts connected. In cybersecurity, there are conversations between one of our companies that came in here, Dachi, with the Bank of Zambia to support the setup of the sectoral computer emergency support response team and the security operations center for the fintech section, a FinCET. The value of this is in excess of $40 million. And this conversation is something that we hope to consummate in the next few weeks. In AI for public health, Your Excellencies, one of our companies, Mino Health AI Lab, is talking with Zambia's EHR provider to deploy generative AI across 2,000 health facilities in Zambia for disease surveillance and maternal care. The outcomes of this, we hope, would save between 15,000 to 25,000 lives annually from maternal deaths. The value of this to the economy of Zambia by the Zambian Health Ministry that we met will be around approximately $410 million annually. Your Excellencies, in the area of human capital and agri-tech is important because, interestingly, both Excellencies are farmers at heart, politicians by profession or by calling. We've come in with a number of agri-tech companies, and some of what our agri-tech companies do is to be able to use artificial intelligence to improve the yield of the farmers. Precision farming using satellite technology and predictive text. But for me, the most important part of this is the solutions that are available for us to give to our farmers. But many of these solutions are in English and sometimes Chinese. And our farmers may not be able to speak or read or interface with these solutions. From Ghana, we're building large language models that are picking African indigenous languages of our farmers and layering them as interfaces so that the tools that are available to farmers in the developed world are available to our farmers. And these tools are not just text-enabled, they're voice-enabled. Because some of our local farmers can speak the language but cannot type and read the language. So we're doing voice-enabled from Ghana for the whole of Africa. When it comes to strategic governance and media, we came in with a company called Bahamas Limited. Bahamas Limited is one of the key partners of our regulator, the NCA in Ghana. And Bahamas has had engagements with the Independent Broadcasters Association and the regulator here, ZICTA. They're looking to roll out a broadcast monitoring system. And what the broadcast monitoring system will do, Your Excellency, for your country is it's going to increase your ability to censor wholesome content on national TV. It's also going to allow for you to be able to monitor, for example, the publicity of foods, drugs, and items that need to go through a standards authority, because now you have the ability to keep records. And so for the FDA here, that's a very critical tool that broadcast monitoring system will do. We're also offering systems on misinformation and disinformation, on quality of service monitoring, and a centralized equipment identity register to help with fraud prevention. The value of this contract, which we hope to sign in the next few days, is $15 million US. And in fact, Bahamas came in and realized that there is no Bang & Olufsen franchise here in Zambia, and they are franchise holder for Africa from Ghana. And so yesterday they went into conversations with the East Park Mall, and they're picking up a shop. So they're investing. They're not just coming to take money out of here. They're investing. They're looking for space in the East Park Mall to bring in Bang & Olufsen solutions here. Your Excellencies, the consolidated economic impact of our 72 hours on the ground, secured business transactions that have been signed, $7 million US. Potential ongoing negotiations, $65 million US, with a potential of creating 8,000 Zambian jobs. We believe that this partnership is one that will progress. For us as Ghana, we see Zambia as our home. And like I said the other day to the CEOs, we came here hoping that we will get a bride. The reception we have received from His Excellency and the Honorable Minister has assured us that this marriage is going to be long and fruitful. And as a sign of our gratitude from the Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, we have a small token. We have a small token to present to our colleague Minister for Technology and Science to say thank you for the hospitality, and long may our bond. This is it's a plaque, Your Excellency, that has an Idinkra symbol. Idinkra symbols are traditional Ghanaian symbols, and this one is called Shi Wonshi, which translates to when you burn, it does not burn. That which fire cannot burn. May our relationship and the business relationships between us be imperishable and last like gold. Thank you.
President of the Republic of Ghana, President John Dramani Mahama, and also all our ministers from Ghana, from Zambia, we recognize you. Our senior government officials from both countries, appreciate your presence here, but also leaders of industry, those that run businesses, those that we expect to uplift our visions, our policies, to get our country's economies to where they should have been years and years back. And we allowed ourselves to, in military language, to mark time. And it's important that now we accelerate so we can, the work we do so we can recover ground. And President of Ghana and I are very clear that the Ghana economy, the Zambia economy, must run at a faster speed. And you, the business colleagues, must be at the forefront of this, and no one else. Don't look over your shoulders. It is you that should actually actualize the acceleration of the developments of our economies. And we know why we want that, because we have a youthful population, and we want the populations to have opportunities for better lives if they are willing to work. I put a caveat, if they are willing to work. And they should be willing to work, because there's no option. People have to work. If you're able-bodied, you have to work. Even those that are differently able, they do work. In fact, they do work even more than the able-bodied. So the Bible confirms that assertion that I'm making. So we recognize you, colleagues. I see a couple of our partners, development partners, diplomatic corps that are in this forum today. I must simply say, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the media, we appreciate your presence all the time. We don't take you for granted. What we're doing in this room will be known in the whole of Zambia, will be seen, viewed, listened to, analyzed, commented on, especially on digital platforms. Digital platforms, not just in Zambia and Ghana. And I'm very happy that the foreign minister, you dressed like that. I asked my team to post on various platforms that were associated with that. President of Zambia will be ordering more of that stuff for himself. And you saved my words, because you spoke very well about the importance of our culture, our traditions, and you look at the successful countries around the world. Just watch and see inside there. What do you see in the Japanese? What they do is embedded in their culture. What do you see in the Germans? It's embedded in their culture. What do you see in the Chinese? What do you see in the Indians now? The explosion of the Indian economy is anchored in their culture. Within the diversity of the Indian culture, you can see threads of what they are doing. Even when they leave India and come into Zambia and go to Ghana, you can see that thread of what they do. I think we Africans must continue dressing like that, even today. So, thank you very much for illustrating that issue. Let me come back to, I was talking to the media, but to really thank the media once more for being available every time we need you. And sometimes we don't invite you, you come. Because that's their business. Remember, in Zambia, Your Excellency, we had a singer who I loved a lot, but many people didn't appreciate him, his music, until he died. He was saying that the currents, kwacha ni mozi. It doesn't matter what you do, but at the end of the day, you earn the same currency, the same value. It's professions are different. So thank you to the media. I'm really honored, and I know my brother will talk about it, that we're honored to address this Ghana-Zambia Business Forum today, having been together for a couple of days now, and today is our last day in this interaction of the state visit, and it's good to be here together. Ordinarily, my brother would have been here alone. That's what tends to happen. The visiting president goes to business forum alone. But the two sides decided that the two of us should be together. I think it's a great decision that they have made. So we're very, very pleased to be together with yourselves this morning to sort of carry what we've been discussing into this room, and expect that out of the few days of work, there will be more transactions than we've already listened to, more joint ventures. Mr. President, Your Excellency, here, this brother of yours is promoting joint ventures. joint ventures in many areas, because that's where value will come from. The value that the Ghanaians bring to the table, the value that Zambians bring to the table, there will be synergy. And it won't be 1 + 1 = 2. It will be 1 + 1 = 2 + X. And it's very, very important that, we promote transactions so that the traditional state visits of the past, of the 60s, of the 70s, had a different slant. But the state visits of today, my brother and I agreed, must be, yes, politics brought us here into these offices, mobilizing our people, but to stay in office, to create value that we didn't have maybe when we took office, is to do more business, is to focus on our economies, to focus on investments, trade, working together, reaching out to each other. And with a digital platform, no place is too far from another. I hear, Mr. President, now there's a lot of marriages where young people meet on the internet and they end up marrying each other. So there's no place too far. So if there's no place too far in that sphere, in that space, there should be no place too far in business, in investment, in trade. After all, for what you produce, a good or a service, there is demand somewhere. And that demand needs to be matched with the production, the supply side. From my scenes of my training and my profession, I'm a demand-driven person rather than supply-driven person. Where there is demand, supply will be there. But now we have to connect the two. And because demand should be able to pay for what it wants to consume. So, and that too, we are able to assess through, now AI. Quickly you can tuck in there, get to know who wants what you produce. Are they able to pay or they're not able to pay? So that's a better use of AI than generating fake news and images, right? So, Mr. President and delegations, the delegates here, we're really thankful to my brother President Mahama for sparing this dear time, valuable time, from the very heavy schedule, the demands of the Ghanaian people, on his time and his capabilities, and that he spent a couple of days in here. I'm very grateful, including being at this platform today. So, Mr. President, Zambians only seated here, Zambians only, Zambian citizens, businesses, may we clap for the President and his delegation. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Louder, 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 louder. Thank you. You may take your seats. You may take your seats. So thank you very much. This state visit, in a manner we've structured it, away from the traditional state visits, really I'm confident, my brother is confident, that it will renew our long-standing partnership, Ghana-Zambia partnership, which we all know. We read our books, history books, civics, if you call it, depending on what nomenclature it carries in your country, in our country. But we know where we're coming from, and this visit, in a manner we have done it, reinforces, deepens our long-standing relationship. But not just deepens, it broadens it. With the developments, technology, as you heard from the technology, fintech issues, we're very, very happy that I think following today, we are going to see more things happening. Person to person, business to business, government to government, government to business to government to business. Very important. So thank you very much once more, Mr. President. And I already commented about the importance of economic transformation for our economies, for our continent, and we must soldier on, just get the things done. Many sectors, agriculture, mining, we talked last couple of days, already touched technology, and we want to shift from Ghana, Zambia being provider of raw materials. Icona man, Icona. We've been doing that for too long, including slavery. I mean, it was raw material because our human beings had no skills other than general labor. And so, but we can't continue doing that. We must shift to providing, entering our own domestic markets, Ghana, Zambia, regional markets, Africa market, and the global market with value-added products. Instead of shipping soil outside of our continent and then buying the final products back at a much, much higher price. We need to now, education ministers, technology ministers, we need to support the businesses working as one to drive value addition, beneficiation, much, much quicker. So we can improve our economies and, as I said, offer opportunities for education to start with. I'm a passionate individual about education. I received a Zambian government bursary to go to University of Zambia. And that's what brought me into Lusaka, Mr. President. I was in the village. The only reason I came to Lusaka was to go to University of Zambia, which was the only university then, on a government scholarship. And the rest is history. Otherwise, I would have been in the village where I come from, Mr. President. I would have been at a cattle post with 8 wives. 8 wives. And I would have achieved a lot. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Mr. President, when we were in opposition, we talked about retracing those routes, making sure every child of Zambia, irrespective of their circumstances, receive the opportunity which I received. And how would I stand here as head of state and fail to offer the opportunity that I received to every child of Zambia? And that's why we campaigned on free education. And our opponents argued and ridiculed and said there was no money. The issue is not about money. The issue is about policy choices, priorities. Resources are always limited. It is how you use the limited resources. Where do you place emphasis on? And through our free education policy, Mr. President, despite the difficult economic environment we inherited, the debt burden, literally the declining economy, minus 2.8% GDP, we still have been able to cut costs, consumption expenditure, reorganize the resource envelope, and deliver free education. Now we're brought back into school over 2.3 million children. And last year we achieved the highest pass rate from public schools since independence. It is only possible for us to do that. It was only possible because the industry, businesses in this room, you were able to work hard, make money for your shareholders, but also pass some of it through taxes. That's how we were able to do it. And instead of spending that tax revenue on buying new vehicles, Mr. President, I banned the purchase of expensive vehicles in the public sector. No one, even these ministers, they were frowning in the cabinet meeting when I said there will be no expensive vehicles. You want a VX, super VX, cut your own check, go and pay for it. And it's that very money. But where did we get that money? From the businesses. And that's why the people in this room today, Ghanaian businesses, Zambian businesses, are important. May we clap for our business community. So we want you to do more. Where you think we are failing you, speak out. Mr. President, we've set up what we call the Public-Private Dialogue Forum, where we interact with the business community regularly. The President set up a presidential delivery unit to accelerate delivery of services, not just the general economy, but starting with the businesses. And now we have annual budgets, Mr. President, this instrument we call annual budget, generating revenue, directing expenditure. A lot of budget items we include, say in the 2025 budget, emanated from the conversations between the business and the private sector through the public-private dialogue forum. And I see several of my colleagues from the private sector here. When we started, it was frowned upon. Now it's becoming our way of working. That's how it should be. We're not yet there. We have a long way to go. But we want to hear you to say we still have issues here and there. I was presenting, Your Excellency, on Monday or Tuesday, at an energy infrastructure investment forum. And I did say what I'm saying here, that say things out to the government. Those things you want done better or completely new things. We will take them on board. I say the same here in this forum. Once you've done your conversations, find space in a corner to say, we still want these issues done by the Zambian government, by the Ghanaian government. Sometimes you may be able to say things about Ghana here better than you would say them in Ghana. Because we would have provoked you, or your colleagues would have provoked you, or simply out of having had no time to apply your mind on that particular aspect. So that enriches what we in public office do for our people through the businesses. Who creates the jobs? Yes, this government has created a lot of jobs, public sector jobs. But the real numbers, quantum, sit in the private sector. I know it for my sins of the past. I know it very well. The President knows it very well. So we expect you to create more jobs. So we're here to facilitate that happening. I won't take time on mining, the partnerships, the MOUs we signed, but the story is clear there. I think we've beaten that skin a lot. Digital fintech, very nice to hear the Ghanaian journey, and that the President was part of that journey even before he became Vice President and later on President. Mr. President, thank you very much for those reforms. I say to my colleagues here, reforms work. Reforms deliver results. And I can talk about reforms in the energy sector, Mr. President, and in the overarching enhanced development partnership we are now wanting to sign Zambia, Ghana. Through our conversations, we realized that one of the things that Ghana could pick from us is the reforms in the energy sector. We've gone steps ahead of the region here. Electricity, for example, instigated by the drought, waste drought, and living memory that we experienced. Instead of mourning and groaning, we're able to flip the coin and to say, we don't want to be in this situation again. We don't want to. And so we went to reform the sector, open access in electricity, generators here, location A, customized location B, and in between here there was a monopoly called ZESCO, a state monopoly, and we've now opened it up that whoever generates at that point and needs a customer at that point, ZESCO has an obligation, is obliged to wheel the power to the customer because they have the transmission, distribution, and maybe even retail network. So a very important step. So open access, independent power producers, independent traders, tariff blending, net metering, so that even a homestead producing 100 kilowatts can sell the excess, say they consume 60-40, they can put on the grid. The President was telling me that on his farm or place, he's generating solar, but he's putting it to the grid for free. For free. I said, no, Mr. President, you're losing a lot of money there. Do the reforms, and we're happy to support Ghana. This is not a joke. This is serious. We're happy to support you. And Mr. President, since then we've seen a lot of investments coming into the energy sector. And we're confident that we'll gravitate from where we found the generation, 3,500 megawatts, if you want, 3.5 gigawatts, to 10 gigawatts. That's our ambition towards 2031. 10 gigawatts, 10,000 megawatts. And a lot of that will be private sector driven. The order book we have is huge. Now we are moving to implement, including the mix in there. Hydro, we can't walk away from it because God gave us water. But when there's a drought, we can rely on solar, we can rely on clean core technologies, and we have no shame about it. That's a resource God gave us. But by having investment in that base load, actually, we can bring more solar, which is not yet base load, until the storage technology. Again, technology comes in, allows us to do that. I don't want to waste time, but simply to submit some of the issues and put them in context that we have been in conversation since we came together. And the good thing about energy reforms is that you can lift them from one country to another. And I promised the President that we'll send a small team there to have a chat with his own people, your colleagues, since the foreign ministers are here, take that on board so that we can quickly move together. I think that's one area we can move quickly. Agriculture, I think our focus using again the technology is to focus on genetics. I'm happy that Ghana is taking our seed already, and we want to do more. And the last mile distribution that you talked about there, we want to see that working a little bit more, and so that the farmer in Ghana can get the genetics they need. I was explaining to the President this morning, drought resistant for us, right? Disease resistant, pest disease resistant, 3 high yields, 4 early maturing, so early maturing, middle, late maturing, depending on circumstances. And we're happy that the President and I shared ideas, not ideas, what we're doing on our properties. We're leading the way to, together with bigger guys in agriculture, to irrigate. And we're comparing notes that on 1 hectare we're able to produce 2 crops a year. So we don't have to cut more trees to increase our production. We simply have to use the same hectare twice a year and really doubling the production. Without irrigation, you'll have to double the hectareage. Even at lower productivity, for our small guys, 2 tons per hectare. Yet the bigger guys can achieve 10, 11, 12, as the President had on the CIDCO stand there. So, Mr. President, for my sins, I was one of the pioneers in that company, CIDCO. When it came, we brought the technology here. So I was on the board together with, is Chance here? Chance Kabai? It's not here. So, and that time, Zambia didn't see what this thing will become. Today is a global business. I mean, exporting to African countries all over, and I'm happy that Ghana is receiving us here. But it's the productivity we're looking for. So from the genetics through to, of course, irrigation, precision irrigation. Number 2, number 3, husbandry. So we want digital platforms to help us. And I listened to you very carefully there. So that's what this House today should be talking about. How can you help farmers to improve their productivity? Including the small guys. We can take care of ourselves, President and I, and others bigger than us. But what about the small guy? We need to help them. That will improve their return on the hectares that they run. And that will also encourage young people. Mr. President, here, younger people thought agriculture is for you and I only. No. It's a business. It's a business. It's a serious business. Ordinarily, I'm a cattleman myself. But even that in this country for many years was ridiculed. If you were a cattle guy, a rancher, they thought you were a lesser person. Very interesting. But go to Texas, see what the Texans do. Go to Nebraska, see what they do. Go to Brazil, Argentina, see those big boys, right? Big, real big boys, multi-millionaires. That will be enabled by tech, digital. So let's do that. So younger people can say, I'm not going to work for anybody. I will work for myself. Yes, in fintech, but applications that will take me into agriculture, crop, animal, irrigation. And it's no longer something on saying agriculture money will be stuck for many years. No. If you do 2 crops a year, that's pretty quick, isn't it? And ordinarily you say 1 crop is to cover the cost, the second crop is the back pocket. Right? It's the back pocket. Not bad, isn't it? Let's see those discussions today here. Let's hear those discussions today here. I believe that, Mr. President, food security is important for our continent. Food security. So, productivity, higher yield, genetics, irrigation, husbandry, for what? For higher yields, for food security. Mr. President, we must trade more with each other. From a deficit ourselves during the drought to a surplus the year after. Now we're struggling with the market. But someone on the continent is short of food. Someone on a continent like us are sitting on excess food. Once more, digital. Market, production point A, consumption point B. Put us together. Scan the continent using technology and connect demand with supply. That is what we expect the Ghanaian fintech, which is ahead of us, and then working with Zambia. 2 ministers seated there. I heard what you say, wisdom and intellect. So let's see that combination work so that nobody goes hungry on the continent when there's food somewhere. Is that not the case? Nobody should go hungry. And it's mutually beneficial to the producer, to the consumer. I really think that's the issue. I've already talked about energy and the things that are important. So let me close by saying the African continent must wake up. We have woken up. President Mahama and I are awake. Are awake, very awake. As I said yesterday, we took out private time, the 2 of us, before the bilateral meeting. And we just thought that, but President Mahama is talking about my message and vice versa. We're so aligned. And the route, the path we're taking, reforms, yes, one country will be ahead of the other in this area, in another area, let's pull that together. We are alive to the challenges of Africa. So we need the cabinets, our cabinets, we need our business communities to now take the heavy lifting and take the visions leaders bring to the table on to your tables, planning, implementation. Mr. President, I argue to Zambians here, there is nothing that happens by chance. When you see our foreign exchange market stabilizing, men are saying, that's the local language, say we are lucky. No, there's nothing like that. It's all been orchestrated, it's all been worked out. Now that you see it with your eyes, it's not luck. It's intentional, it's deliberate. When you see the macros converging positively, it's not lucky, it is intentional. And I think it's important that you colleagues that have the skills, capital to some extent, and we provide the environment, don't walk, run to heal Africa's disease. The figures you gave us, billions of people, that's a market. We now know from China and India that the population is a good thing. Depends on where you sit. Consumer demand. Very important, Mr. President. I say in India and China, if you just sell a chocolate, some piece of chocolate, and on average one citizen buys a piece of chocolate worth $1 for the whole year, you are a billionaire already. Just they buy one piece worth $1 once a year, you are a billionaire already. Think a little bit. So now, why are we worrying about China and India? We have the 1.3 billion here. So one chocolate, an African buys one piece worth $1, that business will be more than $1 billion business done. Think along those lines. So we have the critical mass. Now let's utilize it. But to do that, we have to trade with ourselves, within ourselves first. So one of the things that, Mr. President, we didn't mention is that maybe we need to quickly, in that part of that framework, to get an import list of Ghana, import-export list of Zambia, and immediately we start comparing notes. What is it that we can buy from each other? Because we now know what Ghana buys, what it sells. You also know what Zambia buys, what it sells. And immediately, in that enhanced partnership, we begin to do practical things. And so we'll have transactions worth more than $7 million, $8 million. It will move into billions quickly. That's structured, that's intentional, that's deliberate. I think through that we can heal the disease of Africa not doing business with itself. Yet it has the demand and it has the size of the economy. But we allow artificial barriers because of the boundaries, geographies drawn by other people for us without us on the table. To say Ghana's shape is like that, right? Zambia's shape, Mr. President, is like that, and a cut inside here, and another cut that side. I hear the king leopards of Belgium wanted to cut Zambia, the northern part of Zambia, Luapula, and northern Muchinga, because he needed to push into one of our swamps, Bangweru plain, so he can hunt, make himself happier, because he thought there was the antelope to hunt in that. So he changed the boundaries in their meeting in Berlin. So we have now accepted that those are our limitations. No, there's nothing like that. Minister of Technology, next time you present, Zambia has 8 plus 1 neighbor, Burundi included. It's a light moment. Mr. President, before we came in office, everybody was mourning and groaning. Zambia is difficult to do business, is landlocked, all this fuss. When we came in and said, come on, flip the coin. Zambia is excellently located. It's land linked. 45 minutes to Harare, 1 hour, 40 minutes to Johannesburg. Literally 3 hours, you can go around. So this is a place to locate. So, FinTech, Ghana, you've done a good job to choose Zambia as the hub in this part of the economy. Let's continue seeking sustainable and mutually beneficial ventures. Ghana, Zambia, beyond. And it will be good. And we will be proud that our people are better off now than the way we found them. And that's our pride. That's our pride. We don't abuse it, but definitely that's beneficial. Let us build enduring bridges. Ghana, Zambia, ECOWAS, SADC, East African Community, North African Community. And I've said, Mr. President, I have heard you speak. I'm one of your fans. I've heard you speak. I'm one of your fans. And I say, what we say, President, maybe a little from my end, we're not against Europe. When we talk of intra-African trade, we are not saying we're against Europe, or America, or Asia. Africa will be better placed to trade with Europe, to do business with Europe and America and Asia when it's organized. That's what we are talking about. So for the European colleagues here, you're welcome to do business with us. But Africa wants to be ready to do proper business with you on terms that are mutually beneficial. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Kindly resume your seats. Thank you. I'll just make a few comments following the very motivational presentation by my brother, President Hichilema. He touched on so many issues that are profound and very important for the new bridge that we are creating between Ghana and Zambia. I like particularly his comment on the new model of state visits. This state visit has not been your usual ceremonial champagne drinking, food eating and signing bilateral agreements, and that's it. Yesterday we had the bilateral discussions, which were very fruitful, government to government, itemizing the areas that we wanted to cooperate. But President Hichilema and I agreed that we must go beyond just the normal permanent joint commission discussions and enhance the relations between Ghana and Zambia to the level of an enhanced economic development partnership. And so we had the bilateral discussions. I had the honor of addressing the parliament yesterday, and then we had the usual state banquets, and so we got the ceremonial aspect of the state visits out. And today we have this business forum that allows the private sector, that becomes the anchor and underpinning of the relationship between the two of us, have the opportunity to hold discussions, network, have roundtables, listen to panel discussions. And I think that that really anchors the relationship that our two countries share. I was Minister of Communications in my early life when I started my political career. And a lot of the time I marvel at how far we have come in the communications and digital space. At the time I was Deputy Minister and Minister, the telecom space was just opening up. And there was no convergence. If it was video, it was video. If it was voice, it was voice. If it was messaging, text, it was text. And it was predicted at the time that there would be a convergence of all these three. And one day we would have a seamless platform in which to communicate. And it was demonstrated when I came out of the aircraft in my traditional attire. It immediately sparked the discussion between the youth of Ghana and the youth of Zambia. That wouldn't have happened years back. Indeed, even information on the state visit would have happened only when our national TV station that has filmed myself and President Hichilema, when we get back home, then they'll put it on to show what's been going on. But Ghanaians have followed every single aspect of this state visit from when I left the aircraft. And they keep commenting and discussing, the meetings that we're having, the issues that we're raising. And so our world has moved forward. And I believe that this visit should allow us to leverage our comparative advantages. Like President Hichilema said, we had a tete-a-tete. It was so interesting. They gave us 45 minutes. We went beyond 1 hour. And we realized the similarities in the trajectories that our two countries are following. But we also realized that we have different comparative advantages. And when it comes to fintech, like the President said, Ghana has moved quite fast. And indeed, we're finding it difficult to follow our fintech companies because they are introducing new things and crossing our borders without our permission. And so we have a comparative advantage there. And we're discussing the energy sector, and I realized that Zambia is far ahead of us in terms of reforms in the energy sector. Like he said, I invested in a solar power plant on my farm, and I produce more power than my farm needs. And so the local electricity company comes and then they come to connect my farm to the national grid and say, well, we have a net meter, and so you can feed the excess of your solar into the national grid. But we don't have the regulation to pay you for any excess power that you produce. So my farm manager has an application on her phone that allows her to track how much power we've fed into the system and how much power we've consumed from the national grid. And I think so far, if I was being paid for the excess power, I'd have earned about 700,000 CDs. How much would that be? It would be $70,000, yes. I'd have earned about $70,000 by now. Over the last 2 years, the solar power has been working. And so, like the President said, they are a step ahead of us. They have open access, they have net metering. If you produce excess power and you feed it into the grid, you get money for it. And they have better choice in terms of who supplies them with their power. We are still at the stage where we have huge state utilities that control the distribution of power. And at the time that we took office, there was about 40% technical and commercial losses, not even being able to collect the money for the power supplied. And so we're just at that point where we're trying to reform. And I think that the Zambian lesson would be a very good model for us to look at. And so one of the things I think is to bring our energy ministry here to come and understudy what you've done so that we can learn lessons from each other. Another aspect is in agriculture. You have a comparative advantage and you are quite far ahead of us when it comes to agriculture, especially with seed production. And I want to thank President Hichilema. He gave me the best gift ever. You know, I travel, I get different gifts, but this is the best gift. President Hichilema has given me 1 ton of maize seed. And so this year, I'm not going to buy maize seed for my farm. I have enough for myself. And then I'll also distribute some to the farmers around me. And I'll tell them it's a gift from the President of Zambia. And so I thank you very much. And I think that we can learn from each other. He also made the interesting comment about import list. Ghana has a very long import list. And it will be useful to see what products on that import list we can import from Zambia and other African countries. And it will be interesting to see what Zambia's import list is, to see what products Ghana also has a comparative advantage to export into the Zambian market. And so that's something that we'll take note of and we will go forward with it. With regards to the media, again, recently there was a young American influencer, they call them influencers now, who, I don't know if he came to Zambia, but he came through several African countries. Yeah, and I'm just talking about the power of the new media. And he came through Ghana, and we have a product we call shea butter. Women love it a lot because now it's in a lot of cosmetic products, it's in creams and all that because of the good effect it has on the body. And apparently I didn't know that we had a shea butter museum in Ghana, and this young man visited and he had a good massage with shea butter. There were about 10 girls with shea butter massaging him. And you know, after the visit he left, and I'm told that after he left there were millions of searches on the internet for what shea butter is and what shea butter can be used for. And he did more advertising for us than we could do ourselves. After he left, it's reported that there were 20 million searches for Ghana. I mean, where is Ghana? What is Ghana about? And all that. And so we can use it to advantage, but at the same time it has its downsides. And that's where fintech and cyber security and all that comes in. And Ghana has quite an advantage there. and we've agreed that we will collaborate in the area of fintechs and cyber security. There is misinformation, there's fake news, and especially now with AI and all that, people are able to generate all kinds of fake, images. And I've been, AI has been used to show me dancing, and all that in Ghana. It showed me and the former president exchanging blows in a boxing ring and all that. Those are fun, but there's the more vicious type, and there's a type that promotes ethnic hatred and hostility. And that type we must find a way of rooting out. Ghana has made some progress. We're able to use cyber tools to track down people who put out that kind of fake news that have the tendency to cause chaos and crisis, and we're able to track them down. And we've passed the laws that allow us to deal with such people. And so those are comparative advantages that we also have that we can share with our brothers and sisters in Zambia. And so I just have a short statement for the record, and if you permit me, I'll just go through it. So let me begin by expressing my sincere appreciation to His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema and to the government and people of Zambia for the exceptional warmth and generosity extended to me and my delegation since our arrival here in this beautiful city of Lusaka. The hospitality we've received is a powerful reflection of the enduring friendship between our two nations. Friendship that is forged in our shared liberation struggles and strengthened by our common commitment to democracy, peace, and political stability. Ghana and Zambia have walked parallel paths in our pursuit of freedom and development. We've stood together as champions of Pan-Africanism and advocates for African self-determination. And yet, despite this strong historical bond and shared vision, trade and investment between our two countries remain far below their true potential. This gap between promise and performance is the challenge and the opportunity that is before us today. At a time when global trade is increasingly fragmented and protectionist tendencies are on the rise, Africa must turn inward with purpose. The African Continental Free Trade Area offers us a historic opportunity to deepen intra-African trade, build regional value chains, and strengthen our collective economic resilience. This business dialogue, therefore, is not a ceremonial event. It is a strategic platform to convert political goodwill into concrete commercial partnerships, to move our relationship decisively from diplomacy to deal-making and from solidarity to shared prosperity. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to briefly outline Ghana's economic context and the investment opportunities it presents. When my administration assumed office, we inherited significant macroeconomic challenges, just like Zambia. Through decisive reforms, fiscal discipline, and bold policy choices, Ghana has stabilized its economy and restored confidence. Inflation has declined markedly, international reserves have improved, and our credit ratings have been upgraded, signaling renewed global confidence in Ghana's economic management. The Ghana cedi, our currency, has stabilized and investor sentiments have rebounded, as reflected in rising foreign direct investment inflows. We're on track to successfully conclude our IMF program by April 2026, demonstrating our firm commitment to fiscal sustainability, structural reform, and long-term economic transformation. These gains provide a solid foundation for Ghana's development agenda, which is anchored on 5 strategic pillars. 1, industrialization and value addition. 2, export-led growth. 3, modern infrastructure development. 4, strong support for MSMEs, women and youth entrepreneurs. And 5, a predictable, transparent, and investor-friendly business environment. These priorities are being advanced through our flagship 24-hour economy initiative and accelerated export development program anchored in the Volta Economic Corridor. This initiative is designed to maximize productivity, expand exports, and fully align Ghana with the objectives of the African Continental Free Trade Area. We're prioritizing sectors such as manufacturing and automobile assembly, agro-processing, logistics and transport, financial and digital services, pharmaceuticals and healthcare, tourism and hospitality, and sanitation and security services. Supporting these efforts are strategic industrial parks, including the Legon Pharmaceutical Innovation Park, the Kumasi Machinery and Technology Park, the Akosombo Japan Garments and Textiles Park, and the Eden Volta Agricultural Project. Complementing this is our $10 billion Big Push infrastructure program, which targets roads, railways, ports, and energy systems. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the central question before us is how Ghana's renewed momentum can intersect with Zambia's proven strengths to create mutually beneficial partnerships. In agriculture and agro-processing, Zambia's experience in large-scale farming, seed production, livestock rearing, and strategic food reserves offer valuable lessons for Ghana. Ghana, through the Feed Ghana program, is expanding production and deepening value addition. There is a significant potential for integrated Ghana-Zambia value chains serving domestic, regional, and export markets. In mining, our complementarities are even more pronounced. Ghana has developed robust systems for managing artisanal and small-scale mining, including through the Gold Board. In 2025, this sector accounted for 53% of Ghana's gold exports, generating over $10 billion in foreign exchange. Ghana stands ready to share its regulatory experience, while Ghanaian mining firms also stand ready to partner with their Zambian counterparts in copper, cobalt, and nickel, and critical minerals for the global energy transition. The digital economy represents perhaps the most exciting frontier. Ghana has built strong capability in fintech, agri-tech, AI-driven health solutions, and digital public infrastructure. The fintech sector accounts for 4% of our gross domestic product, and we have achieved 91% financial inclusion. We see clear opportunities to collaborate with Zambia in cybersecurity, data governance, e-commerce platforms, digital payments, STEM education, and smart healthcare systems. Many of the business leaders accompanying me today are ready to engage in all these sectors with their Zambian counterparts. Beyond these, we see opportunities in pharmaceuticals, cosmetics and herbal medicine, textiles, renewable energy, waste management, oil marketing, real estate, and ecotourism, sectors that are capable of generating jobs and shared value. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Africa's future will not be delivered by chance. It must be built by choice. For too long, our economies have remained exporters of raw materials and importers of finished goods. The Continental Free Trade Area gives us the framework to change this narrative. Partnership and execution will determine our success. I'm encouraged by the agreements we have signed during this state visit, which include the visa waiver allowing Zambians and Ghanaians to travel visa-free to our counterpart countries, and the bilateral air services agreements, which would allow direct flights between Zambia and Ghana. All these will improve connectivity between our people, reduce transaction costs, and facilitate the movement of goods and capital between our countries. I urge our ministries of trade to move swiftly to operationalize the Trade and Industry Cooperation Framework and to support the newly established Ghana-Zambia Business Council. Government will provide the enabling environment, but it is the private sector that must build the factories, take the risks, and create the jobs. To the business leaders gathered here today, this is your moment. Invest in each other's markets, form partnerships that endure beyond political cycles. Let our cooperation be measured not by communiques, but by thriving enterprises, growing exports, and improved livelihoods of our people. In conclusion, the future of Ghana-Zambia relations must be written in the language of trade, investment, innovation, and shared prosperity. And so let this business dialogue mark the beginning of a new chapter, one that is defined by action, ambition, and results. And I look forward to the partnerships that will emerge from today's engagement. God bless the Republic of Zambia, God bless the Republic of Ghana, and may our friendship continue to flourish. I thank you.
for watching. Please like, subscribe,
and click on the bell for more updates.